The Fan.
And Taylor had a call from yesterday, even on the season at 1-1, and I think I was actually past couple of days trying to think about how long it had been since the Colts. And you can say what you want about the situation, the rebuild, the team, what Washington looked like, but put all that on the back burner for a moment. That was outside of the third quarter. I mean, the third quarter got you thinking a little bit, and Frank Reich said as such after the game. And understood after the game why you might be thinking that. But that was as good a game I have seen a Colts team play in a long time. And I'm not just talking about the quarterback position of play. Because, I mean, listen, Andrew Luck threw 2 picks. One was incredibly bad. That's what we'll get to a little bit later on. But I'm just talking about where other aspects of the game surprisingly picked up this team. I mean, when specifically was the last time that you were able to talk about a defense playing at that level? And again, you got to understand here, it's just like last week. We are dealing with the now. I'm not dealing with, well, here's what I'm dealing with what we saw yesterday. Just like last Monday or last Tuesday, because I wasn't on Monday, we were dealing with what we saw here on Sunday. But when was the last time that you saw a defense play at that level, regardless of the competition here, but play at that level? When was the last time? I mean, because it felt really good to watch him play. And even beyond that, when's the last time an individual defensive player like Darius Leonard made you feel as good watching him play as he did? I said this on Drop Off Line Sports this morning. I talked about this last night as well when the entire Colts Nation was getting into me, which was awesome, by the way. It was fun. But I was talking about this last night. You realize in the second half, and specifically some of the third quarter, but in the fourth, every time the Redskins made a legitimate power move in trying to get back into the game or making this thing tight, Darius Leonard made a play. It wasn't all about 18 tackles or 15 solo. I mean, it was causing a fumble. It was a sack, and they all came in big-time situations. I mean, it's one thing to run up those types of numbers just by virtue of running up those types of numbers, right? But you talk about some big moments for this defense yesterday. And I brought this up last week, and that kind of got swept under the rug because a lot of people, frankly, even Big Joe thought I was crazy yesterday asking this. We kind of re-asked what was the truth or trash. I brought it up on Thursday. I think we brought it up again on Friday with the Colts happy hour, and then the pregame huddle had it yesterday about Darius Leonard so far through one game at that point in time, mind you, through one game. Is he the best defensive player on this team through one game? And I know that we have all these snap judgments and reactions and overreactions. That is just the nature of it. But you can see the mold. And you can see the reason why there is such high praise handed out. And then part of that reason is it has been so damn long around here since you had that type of defensive player. I mean, forever. Forever. And not just talking about just tackles. I mean, I think, did he tie or surpass? I think Cavell Connor was the guy, the former linebacker. Was the guy that he surpassed in tackles yesterday. We don't think too much about Cavell Connor. I'm just talking about the playmaking ability, the game-changing ability in those situations that he showed yesterday was incredibly impressive. I mean, if you watch that game, just big moments where you thought, okay, so this is when it all starts. I also think it helped out the rest of the defense as well. I mean, he made plays, and granted, hey, you should be able to get a sack when you come right straight up the gut on a blitz and nobody picks you up, but it was a play made. It has been forever. Well, Robert Mathis, 5 years ago, forever since anybody made significant plays defensively here. Forever. And maybe not that long, but it had been a while since we have seen, and granted, I'm not going to say a complete game because frankly it wasn't. I mean, the third quarter was starting to let you down. They had 3-4 consecutive 3-and-outs, and you're thinking, oh man, here we go again. But I'll give it up to the coaches and the play calling. They got things right. I mean, they got things right. Developed a groove again. And got down the field. Great play call to T.Y. Hilton in the end zone. I mean, it was not a complete game, but it was as enjoyably positive game that we have watched around here in forever. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even count the 4 wins last year. I do not even count the 4 wins last year. I mean, it was, trying not to yak it up against the Browns, trying not to yak it up against San Fran, and 2 Houstons without Deshaun Watson. There was a different feel. A different feel. And here's what you feel today. What you feel today is what I told you and what I had hoped that you and the players had felt last week. Now, granted, last week is in the rear view. The only reason I bring it up is because I want to describe to you how you feel today is how I hoped that you would have felt after last week. That's why I thought that last week was such a big-time blow of a game. And it was. But to be able on the road, and you can say what you want about Washington. Yeah, I know, they're not any good, and Arizona's terrible, and Arizona is absolutely terrible, but they went on the road, and they were dominant last week in a road opener. They came back home. Clearly there was a great deal of questions as far as their crowd's concerned. I don't remember that back in the days of RFK. There are a lot of empty seats. There are a lot of Colts fans there yesterday. But there are a hell of a lot of empty seats. But you still have to play a team that was 1-0, looking to go 2-0 for the first time and stinking forever. And you got to win on the road that was good for everybody. What did I say in the preseason? I talked about it. Hell, I don't even know if I can define it, right? I used a big word like therapeutic. When do I ever use big words on? Big words escape me. But I used it therapeutic for everybody involved. It felt good for everybody to get that win, and not just you, the fans. I can tell how good it felt. You felt about it because you guys climbed all up my rear end yesterday like crazy. Even people that are my friends climbing all. And that's the nature of it. Nobody's mad about it. I don't get mad about it. I'm not thin-skinned. I don't care. It's all in good fun. I really enjoy it. I don't know. What are you doing over here? You got video going. Well, just what? I mean, they can cut it. What are we doing? What's going on? Kyle's sneaking around here. He's sneaking around here like 007. I don't know what you're doing. No, seriously. That's how you should react. That's how. Now, listen, I go back to last week, and I don't think I was over the top negative whatsoever. I think I was just telling you exactly how I felt things went down and how disappointing that it was. And never at a point in time did I say, hey, I talked about Darius Leonard last week. I talked about the offense last week. I talked about the return of luck last week. But the disappointment of losing that game that you should have won, I don't give a damn how Cincinnati's 2-0 and look what they did to Baltimore. I'm just thinking that team was down 23-10. So that was the overall disappointment. So now you can counter that with a win. I felt that in the first 2 games of the season, they needed a win. They needed to feel good. And I'm just talking about it from a fan standpoint right now. I'm not talking about it from a player standpoint. Can you imagine, in that locker room right now, how good that those guys feel, especially those guys that have yet to be there and do anything until these first 2 games? I mean, Jordan Wilkins, like a little over 6 yards per carry clip. I think he's feeling pretty good about it. I think the offensive line's feeling pretty good. I know LaRaven Clark did give up a sack and a turnstile type of sack, but I mean, listen, every time he's mentioned, he's laughed at or ripped. You think he feels a little bit good about the way that he performed? Think confidence can help a little bit. Think confidence can help a young team that, face it, other than fans, I mean, we've all kind of written it to be, a 7-9. I mean, hell, not only me, but Jeff Saturday just said last week that you should be satisfied and feel really good about an 8-8 season. So not just me, guy that's never been in a locker room, or me, media talking head, or me. What did some guy, John Parker, just got all up in me today? Called me, I think, whiny, yeah. Anyway, it's not just me. Other people were saying that too. But listen, you can do some special things, and confidence helps out a great deal. Again, especially with those that have not performed at that level. I thought that's what was necessary in one of the first two games. I was hoping they would get that by virtue of beating Cincinnati. They didn't, but I thought they got it yesterday. I don't know what that is going to detail as far as week 3 and the matchup in Philly is concerned, but it's a feel-good story right now, and my God, everybody needs a damn feel-good. Everybody. It has been 3 long years of nothing but pissing and moaning and bad things going on. I mean, I understand how you feel. I understand why you were so mad at me over the weekend. Because it has. I've lived right here with you. And see, I've got a really interesting angle because I have been here the entire time. I've been here the entire time since this team got here. I've been here in the extremely lean to awful to the laughable to the comical times to the overall incredible greatness where greatness was expected week in and week out to the great unknown to 3 years of bad times again. I've been here and so I know exactly how you respond. I know exactly how you react. I mean, you look at that opening weekend game against Cincinnati. A lot of empty seats, a lot of orange and black in that stadium. Everybody needed to feel good. I mean, Andrew Luck needed to feel good. I mean, everybody thought that Andrew Luck was so giddy about it. No, he wasn't giddy about it. Listen, there was a question asked. One part was, hey, you don't feel good about losing this first game, do you? But how did it feel to be back? He was glad to be back after a year. Think it felt good to him to win a game? For him to win a game? T.Y. Hilton doing a little T.Y. in the end zone. I mean, that thing felt good for everybody. They needed that type of game. They needed that type of win. And I know, and it is just common for you to think about, okay, so what might have been? Can you imagine if this team started out 2-0? Can you imagine if Jack Doyle doesn't fumble and they do push it into the end zone? 2-0 on the season going into Philly, defending Super Bowl champion. I know you start to get greedy a little bit, but I mean, again, it is just what happens. It's what fans do. It's what media members do. I told people earlier today this. I mean, hell, by Wednesday, everybody's going to be talking about, hey, we're sick and tired of all the positivity. Let's just look at it as it is. Washington's not that good, but don't listen to them because that was a needed win all the way around. You see Jim Irsay happy after the game. Guy was dancing around fell into a card table. But great. I mean, that's what I talked about. They have needed that for a long time. What do you mean, must win? I mean, that's the outcome. That is the outcome.